Well, it's hard to believe that the field that we're standing in now today, this meadow here, was a field of barley back in the 1990s. The Lincolnshire Wildlife Trust purchased this part of Redhill Nature Reserve in 1996 with a vision to try and recreate the species-rich chalk downland grassland that was once a key feature of the Lincolnshire Wolds up until the mid-19th century.
100 years ago, this would have been a common site in Lincolnshire on top of the Wolds, but fragmentation, agriculture, development, conurbation has resulted in smaller and smaller reserves. The intensification of agriculture has left these sites extremely small and fragmented. They're an oasis for wildlife, but we should also think on some of our older visitors, it also looks at massaging a sense of nostalgia. What we're looking at here is a snapshot into the past. We had a simple objective, flower-rich chalk downland. So we started in this top corner, and this top corner was known as Harry's Plot, because Harry, the voluntary reserve manager, he scoured the countryside, all within 10 miles, looking at roadside nature reserves, other trust reserves, taking species that would have been found on chalk downland. He then brought them into this corner and started sowing them. He would also take them home and grow them on as plug plants, then bring them out. And then after a couple of years, we had about 1.5 acres of what you can see in front of us.
It really has made a difference to the world, because a lot of people had never seen a wildflower meadow like this before. Well, the first ones I grew, trying to be clever I suppose, I went and grew them in 3-inch pots. I grew 125 if I remember right the first year. Planted them out, well actually where we are now, not far on this head side. They still grow, at least they would have done, if the rabbits had left them alone. But I came back the next day feeling so proud that I'd got this row of cowslips planted. The rabbits had dug the lot up, every one, all 125 of them, so that was that end of cowslips. Anyway, learned the hard way, so eventually I got to the stage where I was growing cowslips at home, and I grew 5,000.
The wonderful thing about Redhill Nature Reserve and chalk downlands is you have this very long period of flowering plants. So you come out early in the year and you'll see the cowslips beginning. The site is awash of yellow. From a distance you may think it's an all-seed rape field. There's that much yellow in here. When the yellows start to fade, you start looking at the mauves coming in. You're looking at the scabious, the knapweed. We've got greater knapweed, we've got common knapweed. The scabious, we've got field scabious, devil's bit scabious, small scabious. And then you've got all the species that feed on that. This time of the year, there'll be clouded yellow butterflies, there'll be marbled whites. Then you've got the birds here. You've got white throats here. You've got various warblers, garden warblers. You've got skylarks use the site for nesting, corn buntings. It's an amazing place, full of noise, full of life. The Coronation Meadow was a scheme that was introduced in 2013. Now, the roots of the scheme really came from Prince Charles. Now, His Royal Highness is extremely passionate about native wildlife, native wildflower meadows, and he was well aware of this massive loss of 97% that we've seen in the last 50 or so years across the countryside. So what the Coronation Meadow was to do was to highlight one meadow in every county as a traditional flower-rich native British meadow. And what the scheme really was, you have two main criteria of the scheme. One is to identify a wildflower meadow, and then two, to use that wildflower meadow as a resource to harvest seed and spread this seed across the county to try and increase numbers of wildflower meadows that we have in the UK. To manage what we've got here, this 60 acres, in a sustainable way, we have to rely on grazing. Towards the end of July, we have Lincoln Reds come on, and we have about 40 or 50 Lincoln Reds that come on for about 3 months of the year. They'll tackle the majority of the herbage that we've got on here, so they'll stay on for about 3 months, then they go off, and then we'll have about 100 to 150 sheep that will come on for another 3 months throughout the winter, and they'll take the sward, they'll take the grass down to a very tight sward, and then they'll come off around about the middle of February, just before the cowslips start to appear. When the cowslips first appear, the leaves appear, the sheep come off.
So not only is Red Hill Coronation Meadow a fantastic example of chalk grassland restoration, but it's acting as a vital source of seed, which is helping to enrich meadow stepping stones across Lincolnshire. Through the Trust's Heritage Lottery funded Meadow Network project, we've been working with a range of volunteers, hand gathering seed from here at Red Hill, growing on wildflowers and planting them out in over 30 community wildflower sites across Lincolnshire. So this is helping communities, helping them to become closer to wildlife and providing a meadow legacy really for the people of Lincolnshire.